I quite like Nigel Farage personally, but when you go to a foreign country and give evidence before a congressional committee, which effectively has the effect of saying, well, you might want to impose a few more tariffs on us, and that might persuade the British government to make free speech better in our country, I do regard that as traitorous. Ash?
I think that Nigel Farage is definitely a hypocrite.
Farage just branded Britain North Korea. Was he warning the world or stabbing his own country in the back? Watch the moment a Brexit hero faces the ultimate accusation traitor.
Chelsea. Dominic, go ahead. Hi.
Good evening, Ian and panel. My question is Nigel Farage a hypocrite or a traitor or both for heading to the United States and complaining about how the UK government handles free speech?
Harriet.
I'm just asking the question.
Okay.
Do you want to start with somebody else?
Lionel.
He's not a traitor. He doesn't deserve to be locked up in the Tower of London. He's grandstanding. Yeah. He's sucking up to Trump. He's sucking up to the free speech tech bros.
And betraying his country.
Well, I think he's dissing, he's discrediting the country. He's not completely wrong about free speech for the reasons we talked about.
No, but he didn't point out that Trump does exactly the same. If you want to get a visa to go to America, they want to know your social media record.
But that is correct. But that's not necessarily a treacherous action. I'm not defending Nigel Farage.
Sounds to me as if you are.
Well, I think he's discredited his country, he's talked down his country, he's hypocritical, just as Trump's hypocritical on free speech. And I won't be voting Reform UK either, just in case you ask.
You surprise us all. Nikki.
Well, the irony, of course, is that when this particular Republican congressman and colleagues came over in the summer, and one of them in the meeting tried to say something critical about Trump, Nigel Farage shut him down and said, no, we're not talking about that. So, his limits on free speech, apply to what he thinks, but not what anybody else thinks. And that's the hypocritical bit. I mean, probably a traitor is going a little bit too far. I mean, the bigger question is, MPs have just had quite a long recess. This is the first week back. It's Prime Minister's questions. Why was he not in the House of Commons today? When was he last in the constituency? Why is he grandstanding over in the US? I mean, this is clearly a bandwagon that he thinks, yet another one, that he's going to jump on around free speech, rather than many of the other issues that I think people want to hear politicians.
I mean, I did call him a traitor earlier in the programme, and I don't take it back. And I quite like Nigel Farage personally, but when you go to a foreign country and give evidence before a congressional committee, which effectively has the effect of saying, well, you might want to impose a few more tariffs on us, and that might persuade the British government to make free speech better in our country, I do regard that as traitorous. Ash?
I think that Nigel Farage is definitely a hypocrite. I think that his actions are currently not in the interest of his country, the country that he claims to love so much. But I think that traitor is just that step too far. Like, I really do. And we're in danger of agreeing too much on this panel. I think one of the...
Not with me, you're not.
I mean, it's the first time Ian's ever been way out there. Hang on a second.
You've disappeared into the Thames.
I'm normally the moderate one.
No, you're the spice in the soup tonight. Yeah. That's what you are. You're the spice in the soup. But I think when it comes to Nigel Farage, like he only has a problem with curtailment of freedom of speech when it's people that he regards in some way as being on his side. So when it came to,
he's not alone in that, to be fair.
Well, no, I think lots of people are hypocrites, right? And I think all of us have our biases and prejudices, which mean we turn a blind eye to our own side in various ways. But I think that when it comes to Trump and JD Vance, I mean, on the one hand, they're decrying, the case of Lucy Connolly. I think that it was a too harsh a sentence, but she did plead guilty to the most serious offence. Like that is what happened. So on the one hand, you've got Lucy Connolly becoming a cause célèbre for the global hard right. But on the other hand, you've got Trump and JD Vance using immigration enforcement to target pro-Palestine protesters on campuses across America and detaining, new father Mahmoud Khalil for weeks, if not months. So I think that going to America to decry, Britain's attacks on freedom of speech is to sort of, go into a steakhouse and be like, what about vegetarianism? You're going to the source of the problem.
But let's look at the bright side. All of the opposition parties to Reform UK are going to use those clips in the election and say this man does not believe in his country.
Well, Mohammed Dominic,
I cannot stay silent while the British establishment and its media chorus rush to brand Nigel Farage a traitor for speaking uncomfortable truths in Washington. The charge is not only absurd, it is the perfect inversion of reality. Farage is not betraying Britain, he is trying to rescue it from a Home Office and Metropolitan Police apparatus that has slipped its constitutional leash and now treats Orwell's fiction as an operations manual. Let us start with the case that triggered Farage's testimony. Graham Lyon, the Irish comedy writer, detained at Heathrow by 5 armed officers for tweets he posted months earlier from Arizona. The British press barely covered the arrest, yet every detail screams political policing. Lyon is not a British subject, he is an Irish citizen. The alleged offence is malicious communications, a charge so elastic that it now covers satire the state dislikes. The Metropolitan Police, under Commissioner Sir Mark Rowley, has quadrupled its online hate crime unit since 2020, even as street stabbings reached record levels. When the state prioritizes Twitter jokes over knife crime, something has gone rotten. I have seen the same pattern across Europe. In Germany, the NetzDG law of 2017 forces platforms to delete hate speech within 24 hours or face fines of up to 50 million. The result? A 600 surge in takedown requests from government agencies, with satirical magazines such as Titanic placed on secret watch lists. In France, Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin openly boasts that the DGSI now scans 30 million social media posts a year. The Macron government even floated a Patriot Act La France after the 2020 teacher beheading, granting prefects the power to close mosques and deport imams without a court order. Yet Marine Le Pen is hauled before judges for posting images of ISIS atrocities. The double standard is glaring. Jihadist propaganda is protected under freedom of religion, but Le Pen's tweets are incitement. Back in Britain, the Online Safety Act received royal assent last October. Buried in its 250 pages is Clause 137, which empowers Ofcom to demand proactive technology to scan private encrypted messages. Signal's president has already threatened to pull out of the UK market if the clause is enforced. Meanwhile, the Home Office's Prevent program lists right-wing terrorism as priority 1, but refuses to disclose how many of its 6,000 annual referrals involve actual violence versus mere opinions. I have spoken to parents in Yorkshire whose 14-year-old son was questioned by Prevent after posting a meme of St. George slaying a dragon labeled woke ideology. The boy is autistic. They confiscated his laptop for 6 months. The hypocrisy multiplies when you look at who is exempt. The Labour Party's youth wing tweets kill the Tories with impunity. Guardian columnists call for white privilege to be abolished by any means necessary, and no dawn raids follow. Yet when Darren Grimes, a gay conservative commentator, merely retweets criticism of Black Lives Matter, Scotland Yard opens an investigation that lasts 8 months and costs 30,000 before collapsing. The pattern is unmistakable. The law is not blind, it is weaponized. Which brings me to Farage's Washington speech. Critics howl that he invited American sanctions. Nonsense. He asked Congress to use trade leverage, the same peaceful tool the US has employed against China over Uyghur forced labor. The UK already threatens American tech giants with 10 global revenue fines if they fail to comply with UK speech codes. Turnabout is fair play. Moreover, Farage explicitly praised the Trump-era USMCA trade deal for containing digital trade clauses that protect free speech. He was urging alignment, not punishment. The deeper issue is sovereignty. Brexit was meant to return power to Westminster, yet today the UK enforces EU-style censorship faster than Brussels itself. The European Court of Justice has ruled that member states cannot force platforms to install blanket upload filters. The UK races ahead with them. Our common law tradition under which everything is permitted, unless expressly forbidden, is being replaced by the continental model where everything is forbidden unless expressly licensed. That is why Farage's comparison to North Korea, though hyperbolic, contains a kernel of truth. Both regimes treat thought crime as a police matter. I am told that invoking trade pressure is treacherous. Really, in 1986, Mrs. Thatcher threatened to revoke Hong Kong's trade privileges unless Beijing guaranteed civil liberties after the handover. Labour MPs cheered her robust diplomacy. When Jeremy Corbyn lobbied Brussels to deny Britain a Canada-style deal, the same establishment called it internationalist solidarity. The double standard is breathtaking. Let us also remember who benefits from the current censorship regime. The Labour Party hopes to import 500,000 more voters via an expanded asylum pathway before the next election. Dissent on immigration, therefore, must be delegitimized as hate. The BBC, which receives $8 billion a year from the licence fee, has a commercial incentive to keep its monopoly on narrative. Tech giants like Meta and Google, facing Ofcom's 18 million fines, happily censor smaller competitors. The establishment's outrage is not moral, it is mercenary. Farage's real sin is breaking the omerta. By taking the story to Washington, he bypassed the UK media blackout and forced the BBC to cover Lyon's arrest. It terrifies the elite more than any Russian bot farm ever could. They accuse him of grandstanding, yet every opposition leader from Starmer to Swinney tour foreign capitals to drum up support. The difference is that Farage champions ordinary Britons, not the Davos set. I will close with a warning. In 2018, Tommy Robinson was jailed for 13 months for live streaming outside a grooming gang trial. The judge imposed a reporting ban, ensuring no domestic coverage. When foreign outlets broke the silence, the Foreign Office summoned the US ambassador to complain. The precedent is set. British courts now claim global jurisdiction over speech. If we do not push back, the next arrest may be an American tourist who tweets "Keep Britain British" while boarding at Heathrow. So no, Nigel Farage is not a traitor. He is the last elected politician willing to defend the ancient liberties that made Britain a beacon to the world. The real traitors are those who smother those liberties in the name of safety, and then denounce the messenger who dares to speak abroad.